everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Huddle Hub podcast. My name is Meadow Mike, and John will be joining me shortly. He had some personal errands to run, so he will be joining me in just a few moments. But welcome, everybody, to the very third episode of the Huddle Hub podcast. Again, my name is Meadow Mike, and today we got a jam-packed show planned out for you guys. Today we are going to go through the news that has gone through the world of football. Will, thank you for joining us here on the Huddle Hub podcast. Appreciate you stopping and checking us out. John, again, will be joining me shortly. He had some personal errands to run, so he will be here in a few minutes. But we're going to go through the news that have surfaced through the world of football, and we are also going to do our 1.0 predictions, continue our 1.0 predictions. This week, we're doing the NFC and the AFC North and South. Last week, we did the West. We did the West last week. We predicted, and now we're doing four versions of this. Okay, we're doing towards the middle of free agency, and then we're doing after the draft, before preseason, and then before the regular season kicks off. So we're doing four versions of this. Okay, now the final one we will do a full-on extended version of it to kind of give you our full-on perspective, because by that time all the teams will be set up. We're going to know who the starters are and all that stuff. This one is basically, okay, they're going to beat this team, they're going to win against this team, lose against this team, whatever. We're going to put some records together, but at the same time, division records matter, because we are still going to do a playoff prediction and lead us up to who is going to ultimately walk away with the Lombardi Trophy in Super Bowl 60. So, again, this is just our 1.0. It's a prediction that we do. And then starting next week, we are going to be doing our mock drafts. Because we got 4 weeks until the draft. 4 weeks until the NFL draft. And me and John are going to be doing our mock draft. And also next week, we will be doing the final division of our predictions, which will be the East, the AFC and NFC East. So next week's show is just as jam-packed as today. Okay? So, again, next week, our mock drafts, and then the NFC, AFC East, and then the following week will be the prediction playoffs leading up to who we ultimately think will win Super Bowl 60 from our 1.0 predictions. So we got a lot of things planned out here in the coming weeks here on the Huddle Hub podcast. But I want to let everybody know that we have some social medias for y'all to go over and follow, and that is over on TikTok and X at the Huddle Hub Pod, also on YouTube at the Huddle Hub Podcast. So please head over to those socials and hit that follow button over on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, and please hit the follow button right here on Twitch. So, but let's get into what the news that's been surfacing through the world of football. I did a little bit of a live on Tuesday because some news surfaced. No, it wasn't Tuesday. It was Wednesday or Thursday, one of the 2 days. Anyways, some news surfaced this past week, and that is Russell Wilson signing with the New York Giants, 1 year, $10.5 million with $21 million in incentives. Again, the incentives, nothing is known on what the incentives are, whether it's a certain amount of wins, certain amount of touchdown passes, certain amount of playoff wins. There's no word on what the incentives are. We don't know that. We just know that there is $21 million in incentives for the 2025 season that he can earn. So at the end of the day, Russell Wilson can walk away with $31.5 million at the end of the 2025 season. And that's if he meets the criteria of those incentives in 1 year, which is crazy. Because there was a lot of questions on why did he only take a $10.5 million deal? Well, because there's $21 million in incentives. And those incentives can't be that crazy to the point where he's going to be able to earn $21 million. And like I said during that live, the question lies now is, how much better is he going to make the Giants? Knock it off. Sorry. Didn't mean for you guys to hear that. The dogs are going crazy. That's what happens when you're going live. So, I mean, it's all about what he does on the field this year. Is he going to make the Giants better? And the offensive line isn't bad. Their defense isn't bad. They got a pretty decent receiving core. Their running back position is kind of eh. They're definitely regretting letting Saquon walk. But just imagine that. Just imagine if Saquon Barkley was still a Giant and Russell Wilson came into the building. How much better do you think the Giants would be? But there's also the question of would Saquon and Barkley would have had a season the way he did in 2024 with the Eagles as a Giant? Probably not. Probably not. Why? Because he was running behind a better offensive line. The Giants are a very young team, but they have a lot of talent. And it's all about getting that talent together and putting together wins. And now that they have Russell Wilson in the building, are they going to be able to do that? And this quarterback room in New York overnight became a very popular quarterback room. You got Russell Wilson, you got Jameis Winston, and Tommy DeVito. Russell Wilson, who in his first year as the Broncos organization, became very famous for his whole Broncos Let's Ride. Jameis Winston, during Super Bowl week this year, was the most entertaining person throughout the whole week. And Tommy DeVito became very famous due to the fact that he was a kid who got signed with the Giants and went on TV and said, hey, I'm living in my parents' basement. I'm only making this much. I don't spend my money on anything. What's your favorite type of food? Oh, chicken cutlets. Got the name Tommy Cutlets. So the Giants have a pretty famous quarterback room with name ties. Now, when you put on the field, yeah, I don't know. But combined out of all three of these quarterbacks, only one of them have a Super Bowl win, and that is Russell Wilson, and he has one. His experience factor could matter going into the huddle, especially for these young guys. So again, the question is going to lie, is Russell Wilson going to be able to help the Giants get more wins? Help them in the division race in the NFC East? And maybe lead them to a playoff berth? But Russell Wilson, 1 year, $10 million, $10.5 million, $21 million in incentives. What the incentives are, again, there has been no indication of what the incentives are. And I really wish that we would get the details on the incentives. And this is per spot rack on what the contract entitles. Okay, it's a $8 million sign bonus, $10.5 million guaranteed. He earns a base salary of $2 million, a signing bonus of $8 million, and a workout bonus of $500,000 while carrying a cap hit of $10.5 mil. Okay, now he okay, so it can double in value. His $10.5 million contract doubles pending on the incentive hits. Now, this is what the incentives are. Now everything did get announced. So here is the details. Here is the details of Russell Wilson's contract, okay? Because I did find, and this was just posted literally moments ago. Okay, so we got the incentives here. Okay, so here's the deal. So his regular season win incentives, the team has to win with 50% of their snaps. He'll earn $176,471. Okay, his playing time incentives. This is his playing time incentives. If he plays 65%, he'll earn $500,000. 75%, he'll earn $1 million, and 85%, $1.5 million. So 65%, you got to think that's got to be 10 games. Okay. 75%, 12 games, 85%, 14 games, because there's 17 games in a regular season. So he's got to play at least 14 games to earn $1.5 million. Okay. Now his performance incentives, he has to have a 96 plus passer rating to earn $500,000. 64% completion rating for $500,000. 20 touchdown passes plus an 88 passer rating for $500,000. 30 touchdown passes plus 88 passer rating for $250,000. 2,500 passing yards plus 88 passer rating for $500,000, and 3,500 passing yards plus an 88 passer rating for $250,000. So those are his performance incentives. Playoff incentives are in here. Okay. Playoff incentives are 55% of the snaps plus a playoff berth, $750,000. 75% of the snaps plus a playoff berth is $1.5 million. And then 55% of the snaps plus a playoff win is another $500,000. And he has to have a max of 2 wins. Those are the incentives. Tommy, 10.5 really isn't too much. Actually, it was expected to be a lot more. His expected contract was supposed to be a lot more. Because let's look into what his expectation was as far as what he was expected to get. Okay, because he was expected a lot more than what he actually got paid. Okay. So his worth in 2025. Okay, so they updated this. So his market value is $38.7 million. 38.7. Okay. With his incentives, he can make up to 31 million this year. So he's actually taking a cut. Now, Aaron Rodgers, his worth is also 38 million. So if he were to sign with the Steelers or another team, he's expected to get at least a $17 million contract for 1 year, but then maybe another $15 million in incentives or $20 million in incentives because he's worth 38. And I know that equals out to 37, but teams are going to try and talk him into saving money. And Aaron Rodgers is going to want to get what he's worth. Because face it, he's a 41-year-old quarterback and doesn't have a lot of time left in the league. So he's going to take whatever he can get, but he's going to make what he knows he deserves and what he feels he deserves. So Russell Wilson took a huge cut because he's worth 38.7. And he's only getting, with incentives, if he hits all the criterias, $31 million. So he's saving the Giants $7 million in cap space with the incentives. Ladies and gentlemen, he has arrived. The Pickmaster, the Candyman, my co-host here on the Huddle Hub podcast, Mr. Johnny H. John, how you doing on a football Sunday?
Doing great. Sorry for the late arrival, but better late than never. I had some business to take care of at Best Buy. But
it's all good. We're still on the news segment of the day, and we only got through one subject, and that is we are talking Russell Wilson right now.
Okay.
So honestly, everything in the news subject so far, or the news segment, we've only gotten through one subject, and that is Russell Wilson's contract. As you know, John, Russell Wilson signed with the Giants, $10.5 million for the year, but he gets $21 million in incentives. Okay? So the incentives program, John, it's crazy. His playing time incentives, if he plays 85% of the time, and I'll just give you the max out, okay? I'm not going to give you the full rundown. I'll just give you his max out because he can earn between 65% and 85% of playing time. He can earn between $500,000 and $1.5 million, okay?
Okay.
For performance incentives, he has to have a 96 plus passer rating for $500,000. He has to get up to at least 30 touchdowns with an 88 passer rating to earn $2,500, or 20 touchdowns with an 88 passer rating for $500,000. Okay.
Yeah.
3,500 passing yards and 88 passer rating to earn $250,000. His playoff incentive, he has to play at least 75% of the snaps and earn a playoff berth to earn $1.5 million. That's the max out. And then for a playoff win and 55% of the snaps, $500,000, and he has to earn at least 2 max wins. Now, there's so much more to this incentives, but Russell Wilson can make up to $31 million at the end of the year if he meets the incentives criteria. So it's crazy how this breakdown is, but do you feel like at the end of the day, Russell Wilson earn this or deserve this, or do you feel like he should have got a lower contract or a bigger contract?
I think this is the perfect contract for him. I mean, let's be honest. He's going to the Giants. It's a 1-year deal. It's just to be a bridge quarterback for whatever rookie they're going to go with. They brought in Winston for 2 years. That's 1 year longer. So he'll be backing up Wilson and the rookie next year. So they secured that spot. And they're not that great of a team, so I have no problem with an incentive-based contract for him at all in this situation.
Now, when Russell Wilson did sign with the Giants, I did an emergency live broadcast here on the Huddle Hub on the night that he signed. It was about a 20-minute live just to kind of talk about this for a few minutes. And the big question now, and I don't know if you agree with me on this or not, but now it's all going to matter on whether he can help the Giants get more points in the W column opposed to the L column. How do you feel he's going to do at the end of the day? Do you think he's going to be able to earn the Giants more wins this season?
Trying to think, how did they finish last year? I mean, not too good. They were the 3rd worst team in the league, but
I believe they went 4-13, I believe, or 5-12.
Maybe a couple, but I don't see them being a huge difference maker. And maybe I'm wrong about that. And they just need a quarterback who's going to play consistent and not turn the ball over, which is what Wilson does. But I couldn't see him maybe more than 6 wins. I mean, it's definitely a step forward because they didn't have anybody last year. But I don't know. It's not going to be a big, oh my goodness, they came out of nowhere like the Commanders or the Texans. It is not going to be a move like that, or the Broncos. But I mean, maybe I could see him go 5-6 wins. He needs.
I mean, when you look at the wide receiver, when you look at the receiver room, that's the next thing I was going to touch on. Malik Neighbors, Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson, Zach Pascal, Lil Jordan Humphrey. I mean, this is not a bad wide receiver room.
Yes, it is.
At the end of the day.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
You think so?
Solid receiver and a bunch of plug-in receivers that are twos. Most of them are probably threes at best. They need another solid receiver.
I mean, I don't know if I would discredit Wan'Dale Robinson too much, though. I mean, he had 93 catches for 699 yards. Not a bad season for Wan'Dale Robinson, who was a number 2. So
Yeah,
Wan'Dale Robinson kind of stepped up there.
He needs to do better than that. He needs to do better. And granted, the quarterback situation last year was garbage, but that didn't stop Neighbors from tearing it up. So they need another receiver.
Malik Neighbors did have a pretty good season last year, but the Giants, again, signing Russell Wilson, 1 year, $10.5 million deal, $21 million in incentives, and that is if he meets the criteria of the incentives. Now, he can earn up to $21 million. The certain incentives that he hits. So, for example, if he does like 65% of the snaps and has an 88 passer rating, he can earn $500,000. That's $500,000 in his, just the incentives add up to $21 million. So he can earn up to $31.5 million, but he's going to earn money as the year goes on top of this 10.5. So it's not like the $21 million he has to meet every criteria. He earns, it's almost like leveling up in a video game. You earn XP as you go. He's going to earn XP. He's going to earn money. And it's just, it all adds up to $21 million. So if he meets all these criteria, he's going to earn $21 million. But I say he'll at least at best earn at least another $10 million in incentives this year. I'm going to say that. I think he will. And I know that's probably being a little bold, but I think he will earn at least half of those incentives. So let's get into the next subject, though, John. Stephon Diggs, he signed a 4-year deal worth $69 million with the Patriots. Now, he did a press conference the other day, and he's pretty excited to be in the New England Patriots building, okay? Especially with a young quarterback in Drake May. He sounded very excited to be there in New England. How much do you think Stephon Diggs is going to help New England as far as the win column this year?
I think he has a right to be very excited. He's the guy again. He doesn't have to worry about sharing touches with anybody like he did in Houston. He's going to be the guy. I think it'll help. Again, I don't know. It's not going to, it's a piece. It's not going to get them to where they want to be yet, but it's a piece in the right direction. Might win them a couple more games like Russell Wilson for the Giants, like we were talking about. But if I'm Drake May, I'm very happy about this. I'll tell you that much.
Well, the wide receiver room in New England right now is Stephon Diggs, Kendrick Bourne, Matt Collins, Jalen Polk, and then you have a couple backups like Javon Baker, Kayshon Boutte, Demario Douglas, John Giles. You have a couple backups there that are on 1-year deals, league minimum. So their receiver
Giants, basically one real good receiver and then a bunch of fill-in guys.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Polk, he didn't have too bad of a season last year. Kendrick Bourne, the same thing. Kendrick Bourne, I believe, was the third best receiver on the Patriots next to their tight end position. He had 28 catches, 305 yards. That's what New England told you last year. And he was like the second or third best receiver in New England.
I actually really liked Matt Collins in Buffalo. He stepped up whenever they needed it to. I wanted San Francisco to bring him in.
Yeah,
but
Matt Collins,
I like that pickup.
Matt Collins was very
starter, but when they needed him to be a starter, he stepped up and put up numbers for him.
Matt Collins was very famously known back when the Eagles played the Patriots in the Super Bowl. He said he was walking to Minnesota or driving his bike to Minnesota to the Super Bowl. And I don't know whether he did it or not. It clears claims that he did it, but I don't know if he really did it. I think he drove his bike from the I didn't think he drove his bike from the hotel they were staying at to the stadium. I think that's how far it got. So, but Stephon Diggs signing his deal, 4 years, $69 million to the Patriots. We also had a sign yesterday, Christian Benford, the Bills' big-time cornerback, signs a 4-year, $76 million deal. Now, he was a 5th-round draft pick for the Bills a few years ago. And he wasn't expected to be a big time cornerback. He was expected to be a second stringer or maybe a practice squad guy, and he stepped up and became the best cornerback on that Bills backfield, and he just earned himself a payday. Do you have any thoughts on Christian Benefort getting his deal?
To be honest with you, I never heard of him until right now, so I really don't have any thoughts on him.
He's a pretty good cornerback. He is. He's a really good cornerback. He actually had a pretty good year this year, I believe. His stats weren't too bad. Pulling up the statistics right now.
Please do, because I'm not familiar with that name.
Yeah, so
I
Christian
didn't hear it
Benefort.
too much.
Yeah, he's a pretty big defensive back. He got picked. So these are his statistics. He got picked in the 6th round in the 2022 draft. Okay, 24 years old. And as far as his statistics, in 2022 he played 9 games. He had 24 tackles, 17 solos, 7 assisted, 1 interception. In 2023 he played 15 games. He had 54 tackles total, 43 solo, 11 assisted, 2 interceptions, and 2 forced fumbles. And then in 2024, 2 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions with 63 tackles, 49 solo, 14 assisted. So not bad. Not bad for a defensive back, a cornerback. He had a pretty good statistic.
Numbers. So that's probably why I haven't heard him, because he gets about 2 INTs a year.
I mean, but it's not a bad statistic to get 2 interceptions. That's 2 turnovers forced plus the fumbles. So
yeah.
Christian Benefort earning his payday, 4 years, $76 million. Speaking of contracts, what's that?
I think good for him, man. Make that money.
Speaking of contracts, the Ravens, they extended John Harbaugh, head coach John Harbaugh, until 2028. So John Harbaugh extended as the head coach out in Baltimore. Hasn't won a Super Bowl in a while, but he won one. He's made the playoffs 10 years in a row now for the Ravens. So earning himself the extension through 2028. What are your thoughts on John Harbaugh being extended out in Baltimore?
Move. He's a proven winner. Unlike Mike Tomlin, who's one and done in the playoffs, Harbaugh actually wins in the playoffs, and his team is a legitimate contender. I definitely agree with that extension. There's no reason not to.
Well, I mean, speaking of the AFC North, we are going to be doing our AFC North predictions today for the prediction 1.0. We're doing the AFC and NFC North and South. So
that's why I got Ravens, my Caleb Williams Bears jersey on, because we do in the North.
And speaking of the Ravens and Steelers, we will be doing those predictions in a few minutes here. We got a couple more things on the news segment here, and then we will move forward with our predictions. So the Texans, they signed
the UFL.
Oh, we got some UFL. You got some UFL news you want to talk about?
Oh, it's week 1.
Okay. All right, we'll get into the UFL.
Talk about it.
Well, definitely. I will say this: I was so tied up with so many things that I honestly forgot that it was week 1 in the UFL. So we will get into the UFL.
I got the Big E on right now because the Panthers and Showboats come on in 1 minute.
So the Texans signed linebacker EJ Speed, a decent pickup for the Texans for their defensive backfield. Not too much on EJ Speed. He's going to be a depth guy for the Texans. But as far as extensions here, John, Deion Sanders has signed a 5-year, $54 million extension at the University of Colorado. He will not be following Shedeur Sanders to the NFL. He'll be sticking around in college football. So your thoughts on that, Deion Sanders extending himself out in Colorado for another 5 years?
I don't understand that. I don't think he's that good of a coach. I think he's overhyped. What has he done for Colorado? Really? They had an easy schedule this year. When they played good teams, with the exception of one, they struggled. They even lost their bowl game. I don't think he deserves the extension. And I knew he wasn't going to come to the NFL because he's not an NFL coach. He's not. He's all glitz and glamour and let's put on a show, and that's not NFL football. Players aren't going to put up with that when the coach is more media worthy than the team. High schoolers will fall for that because Oh my goodness, it's Deion Sanders. It's prime time. NFL Hall of Famer. He's going to be my coach. They'll be in line for the show because they're trying to prove themselves. But I I don't know. I wouldn't have brought him back. I don't think he's that good of a coach.
Well, I mean, I think it was a pretty decent move for Colorado to bring him back. They're trying to build something in Colorado, and to do so, you want to try and keep the same people in the building as long as you can. So I think it was a pretty decent move for Colorado. Last thing on the docket, John. We've been talking a lot about Aaron Rodgers the past couple weeks. Okay, now we know Aaron Rodgers. We are waiting to see who he's going to sign with. Now, the teams that were in the running for Aaron Rodgers was the Browns, the Vikings, the Steelers, and the Giants. The Giants go out. They sign Russell Wilson. Giants are out. The Browns, they brought in Kenny Pickett in a trade with the Eagles to send Darius Thompson-Johnson over to the Eagles and a couple draft picks. The Browns seem to be out. Okay, the Vikings a couple weeks ago, they said they're out, so that left the Steelers. But now this week it has resurfaced that the Vikings are yet again interested in Aaron Rodgers, so it is now between the Steelers and yet again the Vikings. Are you still sticking with the fact that Aaron Rodgers should probably sign with the Steelers?
I think he should sign with the Vikings. If you get a chance to throw to Justin Jefferson, I'm going to take that 100% of the time, man. If I'm the Vikings, I would go with McCarthy. I don't understand this move, but if I'm Aaron Rodgers and I get a chance to throw to one of the best receivers in the NFL, I'm going to jump on that chance. Heck yeah.
I mean, he's got a former running back that he used to play with out in Green Bay in Minnesota as well. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be a smart move. If I had to pick, I would probably pick Pittsburgh because you got George Pickens, you got Pat Freiermuth, and now you got DK Metcalf. You got an offense there. The Vikings, do they have an offense? Yeah, but you don't know how healthy TJ Hawkinson is. He did make a comeback towards the end of the season last year, but didn't make too much noise. Yeah, you got Justin Jefferson, who is arguably a top 5 receiver, but you know, you got to kind of look at what weapons are there for you, how good is what offensive line is better to block for you, and how your running game is going to be. The Steelers right now doesn't look like they really have a running game. It doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, so, but I would still probably side with the Steelers just due to the fact on the options that you would have to pass to. So, you know, you're going Vikings. I'm going to stick around and say the Steelers for now. And I definitely thought we were going to hear something this week, and we didn't. So, but that's it for the news stuff, man. Not too much came out this week. With that being said, let's get into the UFL. John, like you said, week 1 started this week. About 2 days ago, we had the St. Louis Battlehawks take on the Houston Roughnecks. They defeated Houston 31-6. And then yesterday, the Arlington Renegades defeated the San Antonio Brahmas 33-9. Today, we got the Michigan Panthers taking on the Memphis Showboats at 12 p.m. And then the Birmingham Stallions taking on the DC Defenders at 3 p.m. John, what do you got on the UFL?
Honestly, I didn't really get a chance to see the game. I worked Friday, so I didn't get a chance to see that one. And I didn't get a chance to see the Brahmas and Renegades yesterday. But I do know that during the Brahmas, and I believe during the Brahmas and Renegades, the running back for the Renegades, Kelvin Ballage, broke the UFL record for longest rush in the league history. He had a 78-yard, I believe it was, rushing touchdown. And I mean, the Battlehawks won. They crushed the Roughnecks, but the Roughnecks held Hakeem Butler to 0 catches, 0 yards, and he's roughly looked at as the best wide receiver in the UFL. He actually was signed with the Cincinnati Bengals last year, but I don't believe actually got a chance to play. And then just Saturday, the Renegades just handed it to the Brahmas. Like I said, I didn't get a chance to see the game or the stats, but I heard Kellen Mond, the quarterback, the new quarterback for the Brahmas just looked terrible. But
I
that's
mean,
about it. Next week, I'm going to have a little bit more on the UFL. I just didn't get a chance to check out any of the games the past 2 days.
yeah, same here. I've had a lot going on to the fact that I totally forgot that the UFL even started this week. But when you look at the stat line for St. Louis and Houston, I mean, St. Louis's defense seemed to be in pretty decent form in week one, holding Houston to 170 yards offense. St. Louis had 460 yards on offense. A couple turnovers forced by St. Louis. They had 2 interceptions in the game. They also had 3 sacks. So their defense, I mean, that St. Louis defense in week one seems like they're going to be a pretty tough defense to battle with through the season. I mean,
Yeah.
but again, it's only week one. Things can turn around. So you never know. When you go over to the San Antonio and Arlington game, as far as total yards, almost pretty even. I mean, Arlington had 347 to San Antonio's 240. And defensive wise, I mean, 2 sacks or 0 sacks for the Brahmas, 2 sacks for the Renegades. So as
The
far as the
Renegades
defense,
has the bandit back on their helmet instead of the R. That's looks so much better. I'm so glad they put the bandit back on their helmet.
I mean, one thing that I think UFL kind of lacked on this year as well was promoting for the season to start. Last year, they were all over promoting. This year, not a lot of promoting. Not a lot at all.
First year, so they had to really get on the ball with it.
They should have been more on the ball this year with promoting than with it being year number 2.
I see commercials for it during SmackDown. At least the Fox, I see commercials for it during that. But other than that, yeah, you're right. They do need to promote more.
I mean, they have we are in the day and age of digital to the fact where they should be utilizing social media to its full extent, and they have not done that.
I think it depends on the market because the numbers for the Brahmas game was 10,000 plus people there. So I think it depends on the market.
Well, we will recap the rest of week 1 next week, and we will get you ready for week 2 next week.
Recap part of week 2 as well.
Part of week 2 because 2 games on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. Yep. So we actually will recap half of week 2 next week and get you ready for the games on Sunday in the UFL and have a lot more on the UFL. A little bit
more time on it. Yep.
Yeah. So, but John, we're doing our predictions, our 1.0 version, and as I explained at the beginning of the show, we're doing 4 versions of this, okay? We're doing pretty much middle of free agency as the 1.0. We're doing after the draft will be our 2.0. Beginning of preseason, training camp will be our 3.0, and then before the regular season kicks off will be our 4.0, and our final version of predicting for the NFL season in 2025. Now, this week, we're doing the AFC and the NFC South. And then next week, we're going to be doing the NFC and AFC East. But we are also doing our mock draft next week to where you will pick for the NFC team in round 1 and 2. And I will pick for the AFC teams in round 1 and 2. And then 2 weeks after that, we will be flip-flopping the week of the draft to do our second version of our mock draft. So we got a couple shows pretty much planned out for the next coming weeks, which is great.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, we're getting into our predictions for the 1.0 NFC, AFC North and South. Before we get started here, John, we got to let everybody know to follow all of our social medias, TikTok and X over at the Huddle Hub Pod and YouTube at the Huddle Hub Podcast. You can also go over to Twitch and YouTube and follow John over on the Candyman JH channels. Make sure you're hitting follow. Make sure you're hitting subscribe. Checking out everything that John is doing over on Twitch and YouTube. And you can also find me on Instagram, X, TikTok, Snapchat, and Twitch at MetalMike714. You can also join us on April 24th for a special round 1, night 1 watch along for the NFL draft starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm trying to switch things up here. It's not working. April 24, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the watch along round 1, night 1 of the NFL draft. Not sure if we're gonna do night number 2. It all depends. We'll see how night number 1 goes, and pretty much see how tired after night 1 we are as well, because night 1 is going to be a long night. So
Well, I won't be doing night 2 just because of work. I'm going to throw that out there right now because
you will be here for night 1.
that's 50-50 right now. I have to see how certain things fall into place.
Well, nonetheless, we will be live for night number 1. Night number 2 is still up in the air. The decision has not yet been made, but we'll get there. But we're gonna start off, John. Pick a division, North or South. Which one do you want to start with?
Do the AFC South.
Let's go South. All right. In 2024, in the NFC South, the Buccaneers went 10-7, Falcons 8-9, Panthers and Saints both went 5-12. The Texans went 10-7, Colts went 8-9, Jaguars 4-13. The Titans went 3-14. Now, John, we're starting with the South. So let's start off with the AFC South. Okay, now the Texans, they have, and I want to pull this up real quick, because we're going to do this a little bit of a different way this week, okay? We're going to do this a little bit of a different way, okay? So how I'm going to do this is I'm going to just say who plays, like what teams play who this season, and then if you have anything to say about any of the certain games, but ultimately just need a record on how you think they're going to do, and I need a division record as well. Okay. So all right. So in 2024, the Texans, we're going to start with the division champions in the AFC South. The Texans, they went 10-7. So this season, they take on, obviously, the Colts, Jaguars, and Titans from the AFC South. They played every team twice in the division. They also play at home. They play the Cardinals, the Broncos, the Raiders, the 49ers, the Bills, and the Bucks. At their away games, it's going to be against the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Rams, the Seahawks, and the Ravens. So, John, how do you think the Texans are going to do in 2025?
Exactly how they did last year, 10-7 with a 5-1 division record. I think their only loss is they split with the Jaguars. I think they sweep the Colts and they sweep the Titans.
Okay, so 10-7 with, I'm sorry, what was the division record again?
5-1.
5-1. So I got the Texans going 15-2 with a 5-1 division record. Yes. I mean, when you look at this schedule, John, I mean, the Colts, I think they're going to split with the Colts. I think they're going to sweep the Jaguars. I think they're going to sweep the Titans. Okay. A lot of these games, when you think of how teams are built right now, and here we go. Well, Titans 17-0, win the Super Bowl and win by 1,000,000 points. The Titans will be lucky not to be 0-17. Get out here with the sweep the Titans nonsense. I think the Texans, they split with the Colts, they sweep the Jaguars and the Titans. The only two games I think they lose, again, the split with the Colts, and I think they lose to the Bills. Okay. I think the Bills are going to be a lot better team than they were last year. Again, we're doing the East next week. The Bills are part of the East, but the Bills are already in the win column from a lot of the teams that we've already done. Okay. So the Bills right now, I think, as it looks before we even get there next week on my end, are undefeated. Okay. But the terrible Titans won't have a stadium. So yeah.
17-0?
No. As far as the teams we've talked about so far, the Bills have won every one of them, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So they're
undefeated. I was like, wow.
At the moment, they're like
on Buffalo.
At the moment, they're basically like, I think 8-0, 7-1 somewhere. I don't know. I would have to look, and I'm gonna do my NFC East today. Later on this afternoon, I'm gonna be done with mine for the East this afternoon already. I'm gonna have mine ready, but I think the Texans are going to have a bounce back year and a pretty big year as well. But 15-2, 5-1 in the division. Let's go with the Colts. They went 8-9 in 2024. They obviously play the division games twice: Texans, Jaguars, Titans. They also play at home the Cardinals, Broncos, Raiders, 49ers, Dolphins, and Falcons. And then their away games are the Chiefs, the Chargers, Rams, Seahawks, and Steelers. John, how do you have the Colts going?
I have them taking a slight step backwards, going 7-10, just because they still don't have a solid option at quarterback.
Okay.
And division, I have them sweeping the Titans and splitting with the Jaguars, so I have them going 3-3 in the division.
Okay. I have the Colts going 5-12 with a 4-2 division record. I have them splitting with the Texans, splitting with the Jaguars, and sweeping the Titans, and the other win that they're going to get is against the Falcons. Okay, the Falcons, I believe, are going to be, and when we get to the Falcons a little later, you're going to see that I have the Falcons kind of in the middle of a pack in the NFC South, and which we're going to do next. Okay, so, but I got them beating the Falcons. All their other games, they end up losing. I see them going 5-12 with a 4-2 division record. The Jaguars, they went 4-13 in 2024. They obviously, again, play the AFC South teams, the Texans, Colts, and Titans at home and away. Their home games are the Chiefs, the Chargers, Rams, Seahawks, Jets, Panthers. Their away games are the Cardinals, Broncos, Raiders, 49ers, and Bengals. John, how do you have the Jaguars going in 2025?
I have the Jaguars being a middle-of-the-pack 500 team. I have them 9-8. Going 4-2 in the division. They're going to split with the Texans, and they're going to split with the Colts.
Okay. I have the Jaguars going 3-14. Okay.
You see Lawrence getting hurt again? Is that why? Because that's why they did so bad last year.
I don't see Lawrence getting hurt again, but I don't see the Jaguars taking a huge step forward or anything this year. They split with the Colts and Titans, but their only other win is going to be against the Jets.
Wow.
Every other game they lose. They get swept by the Texans. They go 4-2. They're going to go 2-4 in their division. That's my prediction.
Wow.
Now the Titans. They went 3-14 in 2024. Okay, they play the division, Texans, Colts, and Jaguars, both home and away. Their home games are the Chiefs, Chargers, Rams, Seahawks, Patriots, Saints. Their away games are the Bills, Cardinals, Broncos, Raiders, 49ers, and Browns. John, how do you see the Titans going in 2025?
I have them going 4-13. They take a small baby step forward with a rookie quarterback, but the offense still has questions. The defense is there's still a work in progress. 4-13 and 0-6 in the division. I don't have them upsetting anybody in their division. Sorry, Will.
Hey, I mean, I have the Titans going 2-15, 1-5 in the division. Yeah. I have them beating the Jaguars once and beating the Patriots. All the other games they lose. They are so uncertain at the quarterback position right now, and that's your key. Who's going to lead the way for your offense? And if it's a rookie quarterback, their offensive line right now does not look promising. They've done nothing to build their offensive line. Their defense, they've concentrated a little more on their defensive side of the ball this offseason, not so much on the offensive side of the ball to protect the quarterback who is not there. Because they don't know if they're going to go Will Levis or if they're going to go draft a quarterback. Apparently, they have a top 5 board on who they're going to pick at number 1. And I see that as a huge uncertainty for a team like the Titans. Last year, before the Super Bowl kicked off between the 49ers and Chiefs, okay? I'm talking last year's Super Bowl 58. We knew Caleb Williams was going to the Bears. We knew that.
Chicago was very vocal about it.
We are 3 weeks from the draft, and the Titans are still uncertain on who they are even going to take at number 1. It is uncertain.
I don't think that's a bad thing, though. Because to me, it comes down to 2 guys.
Cam Ward
or Abdul Carter. No, not Shador Sanders. He's going to be a bust.
You're saying Abdul Carter.
Abdul Carter is the best player in the draft. You have to consider him to be number one.
So I can consider him, but at the same time, that's the defensive side of the ball. And that's something that the Titans should not be concerned about right now. They need to be concerned about the quarterback position.
When you're in the number one team, with the number one pick in the draft, 9 times out of 10, you need a lot of help. And I would just take the best player available. That's just me.
Cam Ward?
I would quarterback. Take Carter. Abdul Carter is the best player in the draft, hands down.
I can agree. I agree with that. But they need a quarterback.
And if I'm the Browns and Cam Ward gets taken number one, I am jumping right on Abdul Carter to put him on that line with Myles Garrett.
Yeah. I agree with that. So as far as the AFC South, John, I have the Texans going 15-2 at 5-1. The Colts going 5-12 with 4-2 division record. The Jaguars going 3-14 with a 2-4 division record, and the Titans going 2-15 with a 1-5 division record. You have the Texans going 10-7 with a 5-1 division record. You have the Jaguars going 9-8 with a 4-2 division record. The Colts going 7-10 with a 3-3 record. And the Titans going 4-13, 0-6 in the division. That's how you have the AFC South. And again, I'm keeping track of this because this is going to determine how the 1.0 playoffs are going to come about. So let's go ahead and kick it in with the NFC South. Stick around in the same division, but different conference. If I get down to it here, we're going to start off with the NFC South defending champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They went 10-7 in 2024. They obviously play the Falcons, Panthers, and Saints twice, home and away. Their home games are against the Cardinals, the Patriots, Jets, 49ers, and Eagles. Their away games are against the Bills, Rams, Dolphins, Seahawks, Texans, and Lions. John, how do you have the Bucs going in 2025?
Like their schedule. I have them going 12-5 with a division record of 5-1. They split with the Falcons.
Okay. We're pretty close on that. I have them going 13-4 with a 5-1 division record. I have them sweeping the Falcons, splitting with the Panthers, and sweeping the Saints. The losses are also against the Eagles, Bills, and Texans. So we are pretty close when it comes to the Buccaneers, when it comes to their record. So the Bucs definitely have a pretty favorable schedule this year.
Yeah, I like their schedule.
The Falcons, who went 8-9 in 2024, they play the Panthers, Saints, and Bucs twice, obviously. At home, they play against the Bills, Rams, Dolphins, Seahawks, and Commanders. Their away games are against the Cardinals, Patriots, Jets, 49ers, Colts, and Vikings. How do you have the Falcons going in 2025?
I have the Falcons going 10-7. I love that away game schedule. Those are usually harder games to play, and they play a lot of favorable matches on the road. 10-7 with a 5-1 division record. Basically, like I said, they split with the Bucs and they sweep the other two.
I have the Falcons taking a small step back this season. Okay. I have them going 6-11 with a 2-4 division record. They're going to beat the Saints. They're going to split with the Saints and Panthers, but get swept by the Buccaneers. And their other wins are going to be against the Commanders, Patriots, and Jets. I was very determined. Like when we did the West last week, I was kind of up in the air for against the Seahawks. And I feel like the Seahawks might have a little bit of an edge with bringing in Sam Darnold. So that's why I think the Seahawks may end up getting the win over the Falcons in 2025. Okay. The Panthers, they went 5-12 in 2024. They play the Falcons, Saints, and Bucs twice. They play the Bills, Rams, Dolphins, Seahawks, and Cowboys at home. And they play the Cardinals, Patriots, Jets, 49ers, Jaguars, and Packers on the road. How do you have the Panthers doing in 2025?
I don't see anything the Panthers did to really greatly improve this team. I have them going 5-12 and 1-5 in the division. I have them splitting with the Saints.
We have a huge different outlook when it comes to the Panthers in 2025. But I'm sure this is, again, we're going to have 4 versions of this. This could change after the draft, before the preseason, and before the regular season kicks off. Right now, I have the Panthers in 2025 going 10-7 with a 4-2 division record. Again, Bryce Young coming off of that benching just looked so much better. Seemed like he was a lot more of a calmer quarterback. Seemed like he had his mind together. He was thinking straight. And you look at this schedule, and it's not a bad schedule. I have them splitting with the Buccaneers and the Falcons, but sweeping the Saints. Okay, their other wins are going to be against the Seahawks, Dolphins, Cowboys, Patriots, Jets, and Jaguars. That's a pretty favorable schedule. That's 10 wins right there. That is a playoff bound if things go their way at 10-7. So they could very easily be a 5 or 6 seed going into the playoffs when you look at this schedule.
I don't see it, but it's possible, I guess. I don't see it, though.
It's possible. It is. But again, all this can change within the next couple weeks after the draft when we do our 2.0. So the Saints, they also went 5-12 in 2024. They play the Falcons, Panthers, and Bucks twice. At home, they play the Cardinals, Patriots, Jets, 49ers, and Giants. While when they go on the road, they're going to play the Bills, Dolphins, Rams, Seahawks, Titans, and the Bears. John, how do you have the Saints going in 2025?
It's like the Panthers. I don't see anything the Saints did in the offseason to improve the team at all. I have them taking a step backwards at 4-13 with a 5-1 division records because, like I said, they split with the Panthers.
So you mean 1-5?
Yeah.
Okay, because you said 5-1, 5 wins, 1 loss. So you have 1 win,
Same
5
difference,
losses.
1-5. 1-5.
Okay. I have the Saints taking a little bit of a leap forward, going 8-9 in 2025. I have them splitting with the Falcons, but then they get swept by the Panthers and the Bucks. I have them going 1-5 in the division. Okay, and that's going to hurt them with their playoff chances. But 8-9, not a bad record to end the year. They're going to also beat the Seahawks, Cardinals, Patriots, Jets, Giants, Bears, Titans. Again, another favorable schedule for a team that I think could take a step forward. Their biggest concern is the quarterback position. Is Derek Carr going to be their guy? Are they moving forward with somebody else? You know, it's going to all matter on what they do with that quarterback position. But I think the Saints can take a pretty decent step forward if they get that right. And they have a favorable schedule to do so. So, but that's that for the AFC and NFC South. John, I want to remind everybody to head over to our social medias. If I can find it here, this is such a mess. I got to clean this up. Over on TikTok and X at the Huddle Hub Pod, and over at the Huddle Hub Podcast on YouTube, where you could see all the clips and full episode replays of the shows. Also join us on Thursday, April 24th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for round one of the NFL Draft, starting at 7:30 p.m. on April 24th, Thursday night. It's going to be a fun night, and again, we're going to determine what we're going to do for night number 2. We will determine that when that time comes. So, but John, again, we are making our predictions here. We are doing the AFC, NFC South, and North. We just did the South. We're about to do the North, and then we are going to determine what teams will do the East next week, and then that will determine what teams are going to make our 1.0 playoffs.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
Yep, playoffs. That's right, Coach.
All the way to 1.0 Super Bowl predictions.
You got that, the 1.0 Super Bowl predictions. So, John, I just have one question for you, man.
Don't you just love football? God, what a fun sport.
John,
No,
don't
I
you
love
just
George
love
Kittle.
I
love George Kittle.
I love football. I love football.
I am. I'm watching it right now with Memphis early. I'm not Memphis. Michigan earlier kicked a 32-yard field goal, and they're up 3-0. So I'm watching it right now as we speak.
All right. Well, as we move on here with the predictions, let's get into it. Lions went 15-12, Vikings 13-4, Packers 11-6, Bears 5-12 in the NFC North. The Ravens went 12-5, Steelers 10-7, Bengals 9-8, and the Browns 3-14 in the AFC North. So, John, let's start with the AFC North. Okay, as I got to get over to this screen and go up to the North. We're going to start with the defending AFC North champion, the Baltimore Ravens. They went 12-5, winning the division. Then again, each team plays their division teams twice, so they'll play the Bengals, Browns, and Steelers home and away. They also play the Bears, Lions, Patriots, Jets, Texans, and Rams at home, while on the road, they play the Bills, Packers, Vikings, and Chiefs. So, John, when it comes to the Ravens in 2025, how do you have the Ravens panning out?
I have them 13 wins and 4 losses. The division record is going to be 4-2. They're going to split with the Bengals and the Steelers. And I believe I have their other losses, the Chiefs and the Bills, I believe.
Okay. All right. I have the Ravens in 2025 going 14-3. Okay.
Okay.
And I have them going 5-1 in the division, with their only division loss being the Bengals. I see them splitting with the Bengals, but sweeping the Steelers and the Browns. Their other 2 losses are going to be against the Texans and the Bills. So the Ravens, I have going 14-3 with a 5-1 division record. The Steelers went 10-7 in 2024. They play the Ravens, Bengals, and Browns twice, while at home they play the Bills, Packers, Vikings, Dolphins, Colts, and Seahawks. On the road, they play against the Bears, Lions, Patriots, Jets, and the Chargers. John, how do you see the Steelers doing in 2025?
Steelers being 10-7. It's going to be it's not going to be a bad year, but it's not going to be a great year. I'm going 3-3 in their division. They're going to sweep the Browns. They're going to split with the Ravens, and they're going to get swept by the Bengals.
So me and you have a totally different viewpoint on the Steelers right now. We do. I have the Steelers in 2025 at the moment going 5-12.
How though? They have an offense and a defense.
Okay. The only team they're going to win against in the division is the Browns. They're going to split with the Browns, but get swept by the Ravens and Bengals. The only other teams they're going to beat is the Seahawks, Colts, Patriots, and Jets. Because at the moment, the Steelers do not have a quarterback. That quarterback position is very important.
Rodgers is going to go there. I think it's a lock. That's
but
why
I'm not
I have him at 10-7.
I'm not accounting Rodgers being there right now because he has not signed a contract. The only thing he's done is spent 6 hours in the facility. That is it. That's it. So it's not guaranteed that Rodgers is going to be there. Now, Russell Wilson did he want to go back to Pittsburgh? Yeah, but Pittsburgh said we want to move forward. If Russell Wilson would have ended up back in Pittsburgh, then this would be a totally different story. But right now, I have them at 5-12 with a 1-5 division record. Or even Justin Fields, yeah. And even with Justin Fields, I would probably have them with a winning record. But I think for the first time since Mike Tomlin has been the head coach in Pittsburgh, he will have a losing season.
Yeah,
and again, this
roster's too good to have that's just my opinion, to have a losing season.
Again, this can all change. This is 1.0. So this can all change in the coming weeks. The Bengals, they went 9-8 in 2024. They play the Ravens, Browns, Steelers, both at home and away. While at home, they play the Bears, Lions, Patriots, Jets, Jaguars, and Cardinals. And on the road, they play the Bills, Packers, Dolphins, Vikings, and Broncos. John, how do you have the Bengals doing in 2025?
The Bengals going 13-4 also with a division record of 5-1. They sweep everybody and split with the Ravens, like I said earlier.
Okay. I have the Bengals, John, splitting with the Ravens, sweeping the Steelers and Browns, and their only other loss is gonna be against the Bills. I have them going 15-2, 5-1 in the division. This Bengals team looks strong. I know their defense needs to be put together a little bit, but I think the Bengals are going to figure that out way before the season starts.
Yeah, I
And
do
the
too.
Bengals at 15-2, 5-1 in the
The
division.
Bengals did what they needed to do. They secured Chase and they secured Higgins for 4 years. They got Burrow his guys back. So they got Burrow long term. There's no reason for me to believe that this team's not going to have a bad year unless somebody unless they have a major injury.
John, the Browns, they went 3-14. They play the Ravens, Bengals, and Steelers home and away. At home, they play the Bills, Packers, Dolphins, Vikings, Titans, 49ers. And on the road, they play the Bears, Lions, Patriots, Jets, and Raiders. What do you see the Browns doing in 2025?
I see the Browns with a rookie quarterback taking a small step forward at 4-13. They're going to go 0-6 in their division. Everyone's going to beat them. They have too many holes on offense. They don't have a valid number one receiver. Their running game is suspect. They don't have a quarterback right now. Even with a rookie, that's suspect. I just can't see them winning more than 5 games max. I have them 4-13.
I'm just kind of curious, what teams do you have them beating?
Oh my goodness. Run down that schedule again. I didn't write that down.
So, okay, so you have them winning 4 games. Let's just put it this way. I have the Browns going 4-13 as well.
Mhm.
The division win that they get is against the Steelers. They're split with the Steelers. That's it. They're going 1-5 in the division. I have them beating the Titans, the Patriots, and the Jets. The rest of the teams they play.
I agree with that. Titans, Patriots, Jets, and run down the rest.
Okay. They play the Bills.
And they play the Giants.
Okay, hold on a second. I'm going to say a team and you say win or loss, okay? Bills.
Loss.
Green Bay.
Loss.
Dolphins.
Loss.
Vikings.
Loss.
You agreed with the Titans. So 49ers.
Loss.
They're okay. Bears.
It'd have been who I had them beat.
So you have the Browns beating the Bears.
If they don't play the Giants, I have them beating the Bears. I think.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Because the rest of the schedule would be the Lions, Patriots, Jets, and Raiders. The other team would be the Raiders. That you would
definitely
have.
not the Raiders.
So you have them beating the Bears. So the only differential is I have them beating the Steelers. You have them beating the Bears. But the other three.
I think it is the Raiders because I'm not high on the Raiders this year.
Okay.
I think it is the Raiders.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of questions with that Raiders team too.
So to recap the AFC North, I have the Bengals at 15-2 with a 5-1 division record. The Ravens 14-3 with a 5-1 division record. The Steelers at 5-12 with a 1-5 record, and the Browns at 4-13 with a 1-5 record. You have the Ravens the Bengals going 13-4 with a 5-1. The Ravens going 13-4 with a 4-2. Steelers at 10-7 with a 3-3, and the Browns 4-13 with an 0-6. That's the division. So The NFC North, as I got to get to the NFC North schedule here. There we go. Scroll me all the way down. And the Lions, 15-2, won the NFC North division. Okay. And in 2025, they obviously play the Bears, Packers, and Vikings at home and away, as those are their division competitors. They also at home play the Browns, Cowboys, Giants, Steelers, and Buccaneers. But on the road, they play the Ravens, Bengals, Eagles, Commanders, Chiefs, and Rams. John, what do you see the Lions doing in 2025?
I have the Lions going 10-6. I'm sorry, 11-6.
Okay.
With a 4-2 division record. They're going to split with the Packers and they're going to split with the Vikings.
Okay. I have the Lions going 12-5 with a 5-1 division record. I have them sweeping the Bears and Vikings, splitting with the Packers. Their other 4 losses are going to be the Bucks, Ravens, Bengals, and Eagles. Okay. So that's how I have the Lions doing. I think they take a slightly step back this season. Vikings went 14-3 in the division in 2024. Vikings went 14-3 in 2024. They play the Bears, Lions, and Packers. At home, they play the Ravens, Bengals, Eagles, Commanders, and Falcons. And on the road, they play the Browns, Cowboys, Giants, Steelers, Chargers, and Seahawks. John, what do you see the Vikings doing in 2025?
Have a real tough home schedule. They really do. And with the rookie quarterback who hasn't played an NFL game yet, not counting the preseason, McCarthy did look good in the preseason last year before he got hurt. But it's just a lot of uncertainty there. I got the Vikings 9-8 with a 3-3 division record. I have them splitting with the Bears, splitting with the Vikings, and splitting. I'm sorry, they are the Vikings. Basically splitting with everybody. They are the Vikings.
Okay. I have the Vikings going 6-11, taking a huge step back. Again, like you said, JJ McCarthy has not played an NFL snap in the regular season. Preseason, can you really count it? No, you can't. They're playing against 2s, 3s, and practice squad guys. I can't. I have them going 6-11 with a 1-5 division record. Their only division win is against the Bears. They will split with the Bears, get swept by the Packers and the Lions. Their other wins are going to be against the Seahawks, Falcons, Browns, Giants, and Steelers, the easier teams on the schedule. That's it. That's all I have the Vikings doing. The Packers won 11-6 in 2024. They play the Bears, Lions, and Vikings as their division rivals, but at home they play the Ravens, Bengals, Eagles, Commanders, and Panthers. And on the road, they play the Browns, Cowboys, Giants, Steelers, Broncos, and Cardinals. John, how do you have the Packers doing in 2025?
This is the year where I think the Vikings begin to take a little step backwards. I think it started in the playoffs
On the Packers.
last year. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the year that the Lions. Oh, this is what I meant to say. The Lions start to take a step backwards. I think they showed it in the playoffs this year, which leaves the door open for the Packers to take their division. I have the Packers going 12-5 with a 4-2 division record, splitting with the Bears and splitting with the Vikings.
Okay. All right. I agree with you that with the Lions taking the step back, it's going to leave the door open for the Packers to come in and try and win this division. I actually have them, well, not winning the division, but coming close to it. I have them going 12-5 as well and going 4-2. Okay. I have them splitting with the Lions, splitting with the Bears, but sweeping the Vikings.
Okay.
And then their other losses are going to be against key opponents like the Ravens, Bengals, and Eagles. All their other games they'll win. But the Packers are going to miss that division championship by 1 game. And that is the split in the division. Because I have the Lions sweeping the Bears and Vikings and splitting with the Packers. Okay? And I have the Packers sweeping the Vikings, but splitting with the Bears. So that's that Bears game is going to be the key component for the Packers. That's the key component. Other than that, it would all depend on who else they would beat, and that's the split. So, speaking of the Bears, they went 5-12 in 2024. As we know, they play the division teams twice. At home, they play the Browns, Cowboys, Giants, Steelers, and Saints. And on the road, they play the Ravens, Bengals, Eagles, Commanders, Raiders, and 49ers. John, how do you have the Bears going in 2025?
I don't think I have ever seen a road schedule like the Chicago Bears have. They literally have a gauntlet to go on the road.
Yep.
It is one of the hardest road schedules I've ever seen. And I do not have them winning a road game at all this year.
Wow.
Well, look who they play on the road. I mean, it's crazy. I have the Bears
So you have them
being
at 8-9.
No, I have the Bears at 5-12.
Oh, okay.
5-12. Their only wins: Browns, Saints, Giants. That was the team that I had beating the Giants. I couldn't remember if it was the Browns or the Bears, and then they split with the Vikings and they split with the Packers at home. So they're going to be 5-12, and they're going to be 4-2 on the division. That road schedule, unless Caleb Williams takes a massive, and I'm wearing your jersey, Caleb, but unless you take a massive leap forward, and that
Do you have them going Do you have them going 2-4 or 4-2 in the division? 4 wins and 2 losses, or 2 wins and 4 losses?
4.
Okay, because you mess me up when you do that 4-2 and you mean losses first.
Yeah,
You mess me up when you do that.
Sorry. Yeah, 4-2. I'm sorry,
2-4.
in the division.
Okay.
Yes. See, now you got me saying it.
You say it all the time. You mess me up when you do it. That's the same thing. Okay, when you send me, he does this to me when we're playing video games too. When we're doing college football, he'll be like, "Oh, I'm beating the such and such 0-35." I'm like, "Don't you mean 35-0?" Like
no,
your
because I'm
score
the
is
home team. Because I'm the home team.
That doesn't matter.
Yes,
if you're up
does.
35-0, then you should say I'm winning 35-0, not 0-35.
No, because the away team is first.
I get that. And that's what you see on your thing. But when you're telling somebody you're winning a game 0-35, don't you mean you're losing? Because your score would be first.
No, because if I'm the home team, my score is on the right.
Okay.
If I'm the away team, my score is on the left.
Okay. The Eagles beat the Chiefs 40-22 in the Super Bowl this year. Okay. But the Eagles were considered the home team. How you would text it is, oh, the Eagles won 22-40. No, they won 40-22. Who cares if they're the home or the away team?
Either
they won
way,
40-22.
The exact same thing.
But it's confusing when you say it because
not.
anybody else, we can ask anybody else, and I guarantee you they would side with me on how the explanation is.
Exact same thing. Like right now, the Michigan Panthers are winning 10-0 because they're the away team. So they go first, 10-0.
But generally, if they're winning 10-0, then you say the Panthers are winning 10-0. Even if they're home or away, it does not matter.
I would say Memphis is winning 0-10.
Okay. Well, the Bears are 2-4 in the division. You have them going 5-12. Okay.
Yeah, because of that tough road.
Finish your explanation with the Caleb Williams thing.
It all comes down to him. He's got weapons to throw to. He's got a running back. It comes down to him, and it comes down to that O-line. And that's the truth. The Bears are going to go as far as Caleb Williams and that O-line takes them. Last year, he got sacked 68 times. The O-line was terrible. They couldn't get the running game going because of it. So it all comes down to those two factors. But right now, I haven't seen enough to actually say they're going to improve.
Okay.
What about you?
So me and you have some similarities to the Bears schedule, but a little bit of a difference. I have the Bears going 7-10 with a 2-4, 2 wins, 4 losses in the division record. Okay.
That's good.
7 wins, 10 losses, by the way.
All right. 2 games.
But anyways, our similarities are splitting with the Packers, splitting with the Vikings. You also have them beating the Browns and Giants. I have them beating the Browns and Giants as well. Their other 3 wins are going to be against the Commanders, the Steelers, and the Raiders. Now, you say, against the Commanders, and I know that's what you meant by that, okay?
I don't know about that.
Here's the thing, though, is the Commanders last year had a great season, okay? And I'm going to get into a little bit of an explanation here with the Commanders, but before I do so, I have the Lions going 12-5 with 5-1 division record. Packers 12-5 with a 4-2. Bears 7-10 with a 2-4. Vikings 6-11 with a 1-5. You have the Packers going 12-5 with a 4-2. Lions going 11-6 with a 4-2. Vikings 9-8 with a 3-3, and the Bears with a 5-12 going 2-4 in the division. That is how we have it for the NFC North. That wraps up our prediction 1.0 for the NFC AFC North. Next week we will do the NFC AFC East. Speaking of the East, getting back on to my Commanders explanation. And we're going to have a little bit of a conversation here about the Commanders. Okay?
Okay.
So the Commanders, this is the one thing I look at when it comes to the Commanders. They had a great season last year. Amazing season. A season that nobody expected them to have, okay? When it comes to winning games and even making it to the NFC Championship. They upset the Lions in the divisional round of the playoffs. Was not expected to happen, especially with the Lions going 15-2, winning home field advantage, yada, 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 okay? The problem is the Commanders had all their players on 1-year deals, which meant a lot of their guys walked. They signed some of them back, but not all of them. The guys that made that happen, half of them are gone. Okay? Which means they got to go out and draft new players, sign different players, come up with new deals, all that stuff. This Commanders team is going to be half of a different team than they were in 2024. I do not see the Commanders striking gold twice and doing what they did last year. I just don't. Jaden Daniels, he is a really good quarterback. He won me over. He did this year. I like Jaden Daniels. I really do. But I do not see the Commanders in a whole having as good of a season as they had last year. Now, again, I'm going to be doing my 1.0 predictions later on today for the NFC East. I'm going to have that ready for next week already. I am. Because most of it's already done with doing the rest of the league. I just got to mark everything else in. Yeah. So I'm going to be done with that this afternoon. I'm going to have that ready. Now, I'm not telling how I'm going to have how I have the Commanders so far, but when I look at this, okay, when I look at this, and I'm just going to kind of mark this right now, okay, when I look at the Commanders as of right now on how I have things, they play the Lions. I have them losing to the Lions. Okay, that's one loss. Okay, they play the Packers. I have them losing to the Packers. That's 2 losses. I have them losing to the Bears. That's 3 losses. Okay, I'm just kind of running down this. I have them losing to the Vikings. That's 4 losses. That's not good. You're already halfway out of the playoff race. Okay. They don't play the Ravens at all. They don't play the Steelers. Just looking for their name real quick here. They don't play the Browns. Okay. And then the other teams we did, they don't play the Bucks. I have them losing to the Falcons. That's 5 losses. Okay. They don't play the Panthers or the Saints. Okay. Just kind of doing this really quick just to see how many losses I have the Commanders at the moment. And that's just with what we've done already. Not there. And then the final team, the NFC North. Okay, I have them losing to the Lions. Oh, I already marked the Lions, didn't I? No, I didn't mark the Lions. Okay, I have them losing to the
so.
No. I have them losing to the Lions. Okay, I have them losing to the Packers. That's 7 losses, John. I have them losing to the Bears. That's 8 losses.
You really have it out for the Commanders this year.
And I have them beating the Vikings. So right now, as it sits, I have the Commanders. And I got to redo this, but as of right now, the way I just did it, I have them at 1-8.
I can't see that. They looked so good last year.
But that's last year, John. You look at how their roster is this year. It's not the same guys. It's not the guys that did what they did last year. That is a key component because you look at the Eagles. You look at the Eagles roster, okay? They lost some guys, but they brought some guys in. But most of the guys that left were not full-on key components to what they did to become the Super Bowl champions this year. Their key components are still there, okay? Same with the Chiefs. The Chiefs made some moves. A lot of the guys that were key components to getting them to the Super Bowl this year are still there. So there's a chance the Chiefs are going to go back to the Super Bowl this year. A chance.
But when you look at Patrick Mahomes is there, there's a chance the Chiefs are going to go back to the Super Bowl.
But when you look at teams like the Texans and the Bills, teams that went out and did things during this offseason so far to make themselves look better on paper, there's a chance they are going to look better on the field, do better on the field, rack up more wins, possibly win home field advantage, win their divisions, and have a chance to go out and beat the Chiefs and eliminate the Chiefs from making the Super Bowl. So the Commanders right now do not look as attractive when it comes to having the players that they had last year. It doesn't look attractive for me right now. But again, this is just 1.0. Everything could change in the next couple weeks as we move on and we do our 2.0, 3.0, and before the season starts, 4.0. Things could change. The Commanders, I can have them at 1-15 for the 1.0. That can change after the draft. Change again before the preseason starts. Change again before the season starts. Things could look better. But right now, as of right now, the way the Commanders look, and basing off what I'm seeing from the Commanders, I do not see them having the same type of season they had last year. They need to put themselves in a position to lock up guys for longer contracts and put themselves in the position to keeping a steady team opposed to having 1-year deals. John, as it sits right now, I believe the statistic as of right now, 210 players are on 1-year deals. 210 players in the NFL are on 1-year deals. That's crazy. That is, I believe, 26% of the players in the NFL on a 1-year deal for whatever team they signed with. And the Commanders hold, I believe, 10% of that. That's nuts. And they only have $24 million. Or no, I'm sorry, that's 2024. I have to switch over to 2025. The Commanders have, as it sits right now, $27 million in cap space available. That's enough to go out and grab guys on 1-year deals.
I was about to say, that's why there's so many guys on 1-year deals.
Well, that's because next year the cap space moves up to $275 million for each team. So teams are going out and giving 1-year deals only to pick out the guys that they want to lock up for longer deals next year.
Yeah, it's prove yourself deals.
This is a prove yourself season for a lot of guys. And those 205 guys on 1-year deals, this is a huge prove yourself season. Huge. Because they're going to have to go out and prove that they deserve the big contract that teams are going to want to hand out come next year. So, but the Commanders right now, they just don't look as attractive as they did in 2024. Not right now. To me, anyways. That's to me. You can have a different opinion, and I respect it. I do. I respect it. I'm not going to argue on your opinion. But right now, this is my opinion. And right now, before I do my predictions of the NFC East, later on this afternoon, they're sitting at 1-8. And again, that could change. So, but John, that's it. That's all we got. So you ready to get out of here?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's start getting out of here. Appreciate everybody who stopped by today for this late start of the Huddle Hub podcast. We will be back at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time next week. Make sure to head over all the Huddle Hub podcast social medias, TikTok, X at the Huddle Hub Pod, and on YouTube at the Huddle Hub Podcast. With that being said, John, your Twitch and YouTube is up there at the Candyman Johnny HJH. What do you want to let the people know?
Check it out, man. Like, share, subscribe. I got a lot of cool content on there. So follow me on Twitch so you know when I'm streaming. All is appreciated.
So make sure you're hitting that follow and subscribe button on John's Twitch and YouTube channels and check out everything that John is doing, not only on live content, but on recorded content as well. Instagram, X, TikTok, Snapchat, and Twitch, Metal Mike 714. That's where you can find me. As far as what I'm doing and where I'm at, well, here every Sunday with John on the Huddle podcast at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every Sunday. On Mondays, tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is a special start time watch along with me and Cam over on Rivet City Radio's Twitch channel for Monday Night Raw, which is over in, I believe, London tomorrow. So they are starting at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Netflix. We will be there for the watch along, followed by another edition of the Table Spot. And me and Cam have a very, very fun segment put together. We are going to give our personal top 10 promos of all time. There's been a lot of talk about promos lately, John, in the world of professional wrestling. Well, we're going to dip our feet into the water and give our personal top 10 favorite promos of all time. So, fun segment planned for the table spot tomorrow, right after the watch along for Monday Night Raw. And then Wednesday, I'm on the Boom on Rivet City Radio's Twitch, Off the Top Media's YouTube channel with Cam and Phil as we do our reaction to AEW Dynamite after the show. This past week, we did our State of the AEW address, which was a great episode. It was our second edition of doing it. Our third edition will be in June. So in the next 3 months, we will be doing another State of the AEW address. But come join us on the Boom or on Rivet City Radio's Twitch, Off the Top Media's YouTube channel every Wednesday. Me and Cam also, there is a Table Spot YouTube channel. It is at the Table Spot RCR, where me and Cam are doing special recordings for the show LFG that WWE does every Sunday. We record it for episode 1 and 2, which will be posted tomorrow. And then we will be recording on our reaction of episode 3 and 4, and that will be posted next Monday. So stay tuned for that. A lot of stuff going on. Just go follow me on the socials, and you can get all the rest of the information there. Other than that, John, you ready to get out of here?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's get out of here.
All right, everybody. Break.
That is right. The Huddle is broken. Thank you for joining us here on the Huddle podcast. As I always say, be good to each other, be kind to each other, take care of each other, be patient with each other. Remember, the world is not moving as fast as you think. Until next Sunday, deuces.